So when I started with the UNHCR, actually, I was first based in Abu Dhabi. I didn't go far away. I'm still in Dubai now,
Okay.
but so that's the move I did. But I have to say I was on a mission by then by the from the organization is to create a more solid approach to partner with the private sector.
Mhm.
And for UNHCR is where we serve refugees and displaced people all around the world. We're trying as an organization for some time now not to work only with governments.
Yeah.
I'll go here back one step. So UNHCR is obviously is part of the United Nations, but we're a humanitarian arm of the UN, right? So when conflict happens, and then people start, unfortunately, to move, whether within their countries or outside their countries, this is where we come. We have a mandate from the United Nations to take care of those people, right? And we were born after the World War II, where we had to take care of Europeans who had to flee because of the war. And we were supposed to close after a few years, right? And then suddenly another conflict happened, and after that, our mandate is being renewed again and again and again. And since then, this is what's happening, unfortunately. So our story is not a very beautiful story background-wise, because obviously we're there because of conflict. But it seems that without real political solutions of peace around the world, if that's possible, such organizations, us and others, of course, there are beautiful organizations out there who are doing great job for children, for you know, but that's why we exist, and we're all around the world, so we cover many countries, and but most of our staff are on the ground where we work. So not like me sitting in Dubai in a nice neighborhood because of my job, but then most of my colleagues are on the ground, you know, in Bangladesh, in Africa, in the Syria situation, in Iraq, Afghanistan, doing the core business that we do, which is protecting refugees. Protecting refugees, that starts from the simple identity that it's very easy for us here to issue, you know, and present ourselves and have a health insurance in these very bad, unfortunate days, to going to education, to have a career, etc. Refugees, they don't have identity card when they leave in many cases, or some countries need to give them another one, and we work legally to protect them, starting from ground zero identity, and make sure after that that they are taken care of through healthcare, shelter, food, education for children, women protection and education, and training for men and women, taking care of the elderly, and then hopefully one day they can go back home, right? Or go to another country if that's possible, if they cannot go back home, or be integrated where the country it is. So going back to my mission was really to create new partnerships with the private sector, and try to find solutions, whether through direct donations or through solution provision, where companies, individuals, and foundations can provide it. So that's in a nutshell what we do as an organization, and what I do with the team here. So stop me when you want to stop, because I
Well,
can
I'm
go.
super interested because it's true. I mean, when you go on the ground, let's say, I mean, I've done a mission with UNHCR. We went to Lebanon, and you see the vast array of skill sets that your team have. You go to one center that has a psychologist, you have a child protection officer, you have a wash, so it's like sanitation officer, and there's like a breadth of expertise that you need. You have teachers, so I mean, the scale of the operations is absolutely massive. I mean, how big is the team, let's say, in kind of areas of displacement or refugee camps, versus how big is your team, let's say, here? And what are the differences in what you do here versus on the ground?
So very good question. So actually, most of our staff again are on the ground, but we have a team that is in few countries. So we have one person, for example, from my team in Jordan to facilitate this kind of mission visibility, make sure that donors and partners, they go and see the stories, tell the stories from the field so people can know Lebanon, Morocco, Egypt. And we have a team as well who's working, and this is mainly my team, who's working on partnerships, making sure that we build long-lasting partnerships that will benefit refugees at the end of the day, benefit the organization through solutions, etc. But our team is so I started alone by that day when I started Abu Dhabi, but now we're a few people in Saudi, in UAE, in the countries I mentioned, in Kuwait and other places in the GCC. We're a bunch of people, and we have as well a small team in Beirut. And that team is really a digital outreach team who's responsible to make sure that we go digitally and reach out to as much as people as possible. And that team in Beirut as well, through the years, we started this in 2012, but through the years we have a very, very good experience. We learned a lot, of course, on doing charitable work online in the region in Arabic, right? And I think it was an amazing journey with the digital part of things. And I can write a book about it humbly, but it's a teamwork. But at the end of the day, so the team is in UNHCR MENA is big because most of them on the ground. We're around 20 people or around MENA, building partnerships and trying to do that. So and yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question on the partnerships because we've been working basically, our relationship has been a partnership for over 5 years, and I remember when we first started. I guess my question is, has partnerships, at least in the private sector, evolved and changed over time? Because I remember when we first started, it was actually quite challenging in terms of being able to publicly speak about certain circumstances, about certain conflicts, about highlighting specific issues that we had in specific countries. I remember at Karim, we were very careful in terms of which countries were participating in the campaigns, which conflicts we could speak about, which refugees in which countries we could speak about. Has that changed at all over the last 5 years? I feel like it has, but I'm just wondering on your end if it actually has.
No, we definitely, I mean, it was so sensitive to talk about refugees, and it was always related to political conflict, which it is, right? At the end of the day. But I think we came a long way, Chris, because, protracted problems like the refugee issues, you can't hide or shy from it. So what happened is, I think the first few years, as you said, it was difficult, people, oh, refugees, I don't want people to know that, I'm giving to refugees even, or giving to that country, and that's changed because it's there for like the last, so for example, if I'm talking about Syria, it's there now for 9 years. How can you not
ignore it for that long?
Yeah, I mean, it's there, khalas, it's over. And there's a whole political aspect that's changing at the same time. And of course, at the same time, you have a generation of children who, lost 10 years of their lives. So you cannot ignore it. And now, actually, it's more. So when you talk about children, you talk about women, you talk about e-learning, education, all psychosocial support that you, Nadia, mentioned. It's for refugees and for non-refugees, but refugee is always part of the story now. And at the same time, when you talk about COVID-19, which I'm sure we're going to tackle it in a bit,